Amara Reyes had always believed in quiet acts of decency, but she never imagined one would upend her life. For 3 years, she'd poured coffee and served pie at Sonny's Diner, a retro haven wedged between a musty bookstore and a vinyl record shop in San Francisco's fog-draped downtown. The diner's neon sign, a flickering cherry-red spoon and fork, bathed the rain-slicked sidewalks in warmth, drawing in night owls, artists, and blue-collar workers craving midnight pancakes. To Amara, 29, and weary of life's monotony, Sonny's was more than a job. It was a refuge where regulars shared confessions over coffee refills, and the jukebox hummed Sinatra tunes like a lullaby. That fateful Tuesday began like any other. Rain drummed against the windows as Amara wiped syrup from booth tables, the air thick with the scent of cinnamon and freshly ground coffee. The dinner rush had faded, leaving the usual stragglers. Old Mr. Henderson nursing his crossword, college students debating philosophy, and Earl, the diner's resident curmudgeon, hunched over his fifth espresso at the counter. Then the bell above the door chimed. Amara glanced up, her breath catching. There, shaking rainwater from his leather jacket, stood Johnny Depp. The Johnny Depp, Hollywood's enigmatic icon, his hair tousled from the storm, eyes shadowed beneath a newsboy cap. He wore faded jeans and a threadbare band t-shirt, looking less like a superstar and more like a wandering poet. He slid into a corner booth, half hidden by a potted fern, but whispers rippled through the diner like wildfire. Amara steadied herself. She'd followed his career since childhood, moved by interviews where he spoke of his love for blues music and his quiet philanthropy. Donations to children's hospitals, support for Native American communities, even funding scholarships for underprivileged artists. Now he sat mere feet away, human and vulnerable, stirring sugar into his coffee. "Evening," she said, approaching his table. Her voice held steady, though her pulse raced. "What can I get you?" Johnny glanced up, his gaze weary but warm. "Black coffee, please. And—" He nodded toward the dessert case, where golden apple pies glistened under glass. "A slice of that masterpiece?" "Coming right up," Amara replied, retreating to the counter. The diner buzzed. Phones surreptitiously snapped photos. Menus hid smirks. But Earl, his gnarled hands gripping his mug, wasn't subtle. "Well, well," Earl barked, slamming his cup down. "If it ain't Captain Jack Sparrow himself." He lurched to his feet, ignoring Amara's pleading look. "Must be nice living in castles while the rest of us scrape pennies for rent." Johnny set his spoon down softly. "Everyone's fighting battles you can't see," he said, his voice calm but firm. "Kindness costs nothing, friend." Earl snorted. "I've read the gossip rags, private jets, gold-plated guitars. Bet you've never worked a real job in your life." The diner fell silent. Amara's hands shook as she plated the pie. She knew the truth, how Johnny had anonymously funded cancer wards, auctioned his paintings for wildfire relief, and paid medical bills for fans in crisis. Without thinking, she stepped forward. "That's not true," she said, louder than she'd intended. "He's donated millions to children's hospitals. He funded a music program for at-risk kids in Kentucky. After his mother passed, he built a hospice wing in her name. He doesn't brag, he just helps." Earl whirled on her, face crimson. "Who asked you? Since when do you simp for celebrities?" "Since lies get spread about good people," Amara shot back, her heart hammering. "He's human, like us. Maybe instead of judging, you should listen." The room froze. Johnny watched her, gratitude and concern etched in his eyes. Before she could speak again, Mr. Sullivan, the diner's bull-necked owner, stormed from the kitchen. "Amara, office, now!" The fallout. In the cramped back office, fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets. Sullivan didn't sit. "You're done. Pack your stuff." "For defending a customer?" Amara's voice cracked. "For pissing off Earl. He's been here since the 90s. You think some actor matters more than my regulars?" Amara emptied her locker in silence, her apron folded neatly. As she stepped into the alley, Johnny emerged from the shadows, his hands shoved into his pockets. "I'm sorry," he said, voice low. "You didn't have to do that. But thank you. It meant something." She managed to smile. "Truth matters, even when it's loud." The call. The next morning, her phone exploded with unknown numbers. A polished voice greeted her. Miss Reyes, Miranda from Infinitum Films, Mr. Depp's production company. He was deeply moved by your integrity. We're creating a docuseries about unsung heroes, people who risk everything to do what's right. We'd love you to lead the research team. Amara sank onto her couch, stunned. Is this real? Absolutely. The role includes relocation to LA, full benefits, and a seat at the editing table. Mr. Depp insists your perspective is vital. The return 2 hours later, Amara marched into Sonny's, head high. The bell jingled, every eye locked onto her. Earl scowled at his coffee. Sullivan froze mid-pour. Amara, She cut him off gently. I came to return my uniform. And to thank you. Thank me? Yes, if you hadn't fired me, I wouldn't have gotten this. She slid the infinitum offer across the counter. My dream job. Telling stories of people who stand up, even when it breaks them. The diner erupted in murmurs. Earl studied his hands like they held secrets. Before leaving, Amara turned to the room. It's easy to judge, especially those in the spotlight. But kindness isn't about fame. It's about seeing people. Really seeing them. Epilogue. 1 year later. The doc-series Ordinary Legends premiered to a packed theater. The screen flashed stories of a teacher funding classrooms from her paycheck, a teen organizing clean water drives, and a nurse housing homeless families during floods. After the credits rolled, Johnny found Amara in the crowd. You inspired this, he said, nodding at the screen. That night, you showed courage isn't about grand gestures. It's about speaking up, even if your voice shakes. Amara smiled, tears glinting. Losing Sonny's hadn't been an ending. It was the first page of a story where courage rippled outward, one small act at a time.